I think one of the most impactful parts of nature immersion is the drive back home over the bridge and into the city, because even though it's beautiful, we're driving back during golden hour and you get to see the magnificence of what we've created as humans in the city skyline. It's almost like a portal back into this like false reality, which seems dramatic, but I feel like there's something that's unspoken in the van when we're coming back. And especially on my walk back from the school to my apartment, even though I walk that same path every day, it feels like I'm seeing it with fresh eyes whenever I come back from nature immersion. And the silence that I feel in my apartment, or the lack thereof it. There's construction happening next to me, and I hear there's constant driving through the intersection, and my neighbors above me and my neighbors in the back. That silence is a lot louder and doesn't bring me the same kind of peace that being surrounded by nature does. But I had to read a book for my death and dying class called The 5 Invitations, Discovering What Death Can Teach Us About Living Fully. And since I didn't get to go on the overnight trip, I thought I would talk about the things that I have been thinking about from this book, because I think death is one of the main things that we run away from as we've separated ourselves from nature. We have a denial that we've been taught, instead of dealing with acknowledging that death is real and will happen to all of us. It kind of just goes unspoken, and then when it comes to a point where we actually have to think about the reality of dying, it's completely overwhelming, and only then do we reflect on our lives in a way that's meaningful. And so this book actually impacted me a lot more than I thought it was going to, and so I wanted to compare some of the things that I learned to things that we talk about in nature immersion, because I feel like the ideologies are kind of linked in that way. So one of the invitations is don't wait, and that is choosing happiness in the moment instead of projecting it into the future. Because if we hold happiness at an arm's length, thinking that it's something that we will obtain one day, we will never, it will never come in the moment. And that made me think about our readings about the attention economy and who and what I give my attention to. And I usually make the easier choice of consuming media like music and podcasts and TV shows and movies and books, instead of making the harder choice of just being with myself. And I need to stop waiting for something magical to happen, some magical change that I don't even know what that change will be, but I know that giving away my attention is the opposite of what will make that change come. And another one of the invitations is, the rest of them are: find a moment of rest in the middle of things, embrace everything, push nothing away, bring your whole self to the experience, and cultivate don't know mind. And I think they're all important, but what really made me think about our innate connection, our innate connection to the earth, biophilia. I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know the vocab. But The author is a Buddhist, and he tells a story of when he was about to go into heart surgery, and there was a chance that he could die. And when his son asks if he's going to survive the surgery, he replies that he's not taking sides. And I don't remember exactly his explanation for his answer, but it was something along the lines of how the trees outside of his window don't care whether he lives or dies. It's inconsequential to them, and how the cycle of life kind of gives him solace in that moment and takes away that fear, because he realizes and understands that he's part of something bigger that is like so much bigger than himself. And I think that's something that I feel in my body when I'm at nature immersion. And a way that I kind of bring that to scale is thinking about bacteria and how bacteria is everywhere. They live inside of us, they live on top of us, they keep us alive, keep us healthy. We have so many reciprocal relationships with bacteria. We're born with them inside of us, and they can kill us. And they're literally our ancestors, because they were the first single-celled organisms, and that's where we've evolved from. And they're going to be here even after every human is gone. And I think what the author was getting at was that our Earth is an organism of its own, and everything that has existed on this planet is still here and will always be here, except for things that have come in, like meteors or things that we put out, like space junk. The Earth will remain the Earth no matter if we live or die, and we are inconsequential to this rock. And strangely, that makes me feel how much more important every moment is, because it's crazy to think that we came from bacteria, and how many things are just happening to us that give us life that we're not even aware of, that we're not in control of. And so yeah, I think that's what makes every moment more meaningful and our life more meaningful, but because of how inconsequential we are. Like, our death does not matter, so why not make our life matter? And I think that's what, I relate that to what you said in the prompt about the real, nature, God, otherness, and how it's impossible to absorb everything, or understand that concept fully, because of how large it is. But ultimately, we are just extensions of the earth, and we are the earth. And so the earth is an extension of ourselves. And I think that's something that we all know intrinsically, but it's been taught out of us. Like, I think it's something that we read for one of your classes about how a certain native tribe considered selfishness and greediness a disease, and that when they saw those characteristics being exhibited, they would banish that person from the tribe and make them survive on their own. But that's not something we're meant to do. We can't survive on our own. And so when they would come back humbled, knowing that they need their community to live, they would accept them back, because they had learned their lesson. But yeah, we celebrate those characteristics now. People are rewarded for being selfish. But like I said, I think it's intrinsic in all of us, the fact that we are all extensions of ourselves, and we should want to treat ourselves with as much respect and dignity as possible. And that includes the earth and others and ourselves. So yeah, nature immersion is really great. I'm looking forward to doing it again, and hopefully spending an overnight with my friends, and reflecting on all of these things that I've been thinking about with them as well.